Will India really stop buying Russian oil? That's what Donald Trump has been claiming for days. India's government won't confirm or deny, even as new US sanctions kick in. And Trump keeps saying that Prime Minister Modi personally promised him.
We have a great relationship. No, we were not happy with him buying oil from Russia, because that lets Russia continue on with this ridiculous war. I want to see it stop. So I was not happy that India was buying oil. And he assured me today that they will not be buying oil from Russia. That's a big stop.
If true, it would be a big stop, since India and Russia have been close partners for many decades. Many here in India still see Russia, not the US, as the trusted or weather friend. India is currently paying 50% tariffs on all its exports to the US. Half of that is a penalty for buying lots of Russian oil. India is the second largest buyer after China. Over 30% of India's crude now comes from Russia, up from less than 1% before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. India's government won't say if Prime Minister Modi has indeed promised to stop Russian crude imports. In a written statement, the Ministry of External Affairs simply said the government's main goal is to ensure reliable and affordable energy for the Indian people, and that it's acting on what the market has to offer, including diversifying energy sources if needed. When reporters asked the ministry's spokesperson if Modi and Trump had directly spoken about Russian oil, this was his answer.
On the question of whether there was a conversation or a telephone call between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, I am not aware of any conversation yesterday between the two leaders.
A few days later came Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights, and a phone call between Trump and Modi that both sides confirmed. Soon after, Trump again claimed that India will stop buying Russian oil.
India, as you know, has told me they are stop. You know, it's a process. You can't just stop it. But by the end of the year, they'll be down to almost nothing. That's a big thing. There was almost 40% of the oil. India, they've been great. Spoke to Prime Minister Modi yesterday. They've been absolutely great.
With the US now slapping new sanctions on major Russian oil companies, India is still keeping Trump's claim hanging. Modi and Trump were once seen as a match made in heaven, but this year's been rocky over tariffs and Russian oil. Both India and China have been cashing in on Moscow's discounted oil since the US and EU enforced a price cap. But India says it's being unfairly targeted, pointing out that the US isn't punishing China and that both the US and EU are also doing business with Russia. But many Indian analysts believe the Modi government will now have to cut back on Russian oil because of the new sanctions and to secure a trade deal with the US.